So, welcome back to the white box stage. Also, please don't forget, again, the hashtag for our Slido in the case that you want to ask questions is hashtag AIC18, so AI Congress 18. So don't forget to ask questions through Slido. Next up, we have actually a very interesting panel discussion on what security measures are necessary to trust in AI. So we will have, first of all, our moderator for the panel discussion, who is Martin Selgard, Editor-in-Chief, Report Magazine, and we will have Michaela Jungwirth from Accenture, Ahmad Mosa from PwC, Wolfgang Ebner from the Ministry of Digital and Economic Affairs of Austria, and Axel Puwein from Wirecard, and last but not least, Dr. Jost Bernasch from Virtual Vehicle. So please welcome them to the stage.
So thank you for the great introduction. My name is Martin Selgard. I'm a journalist based here in Vienna. And as a matter of fact, we have here some Austrian businesses and one member of a ministry here quite in the middle. And we are going to discuss what measures, security measures, we should take, what measures are necessary to take to enlarge and to get trust in AI. We all know AI is going to have a great and big impact in everyday's life and all business we can imagine today. And to be able to use technology in the future, we of course have to trust technology. And relationships always were a big impact on businesses. Relationships were the foundation of humanity, and a relationship to technology is a very new form of having business in the future. And quite right now, as you are going to see, we have some examples where AI has some impact right today in Austria as well. Yeah, to start with you, Michaela, your background, you're a manager and part of the team of applied intelligence at Accenture AI. So maybe we're going to do a first round of questions, and you have the chance to state your profession. Where are you connecting to the topic here, and what are your expectations in general regarding AI development and usage? And later in the next question, we are going to discuss trust and reliable technologies in general. So, Michaela, if you will start, so what challenges do you see in general? What's your background here?
Yes, I will start with my background. I have studied business informatics at the Vienna University of Technology, and since 3 years I am at Accenture in Vienna, responsible for the delivery of AI projects across all industries. So we have financial services, health and public services, resources, products, and client media and technology. And I think the biggest challenge is to shape the awareness that AI must be raised in some way like a child, because it is then used in the business in a responsible way and is a representative that is accepted from the business.
You have talked before going to stage to me that Accenture has some kind of tech vision. You are speaking of citizen AI. What do you mean by that? What's the idea behind that?
The idea behind citizen AI is basically the concept of shaping a responsible AI. Transparency is there a really relevant topic, because when it's transparent which data is used, which model is used, what outcome is, how the outcome can be interpreted from the business, then it's accepted, then it's used. and therefore transparency is a big step in the context of citizen AI. It's also a big step to train the model. It's trained in iterations. The first iteration delivers results. Then the business can say, okay, that's working good, that doesn't work good because of this and that. But this only can happen if the business is knowing how to interpret the results of the AI and how the results are delivered. And the last step is the tuning factor. Decisions are made by AI, and they aren't always binary. It's not only 0 or 1. I have an example from a project because we implemented a machine learning, a supervised machine learning algorithm there in the financial services sector, and we tried to find out the customers that are interested for a specific product. And there it was really necessary to include the business in the model training itself, which attributes are relevant for the decision that is taken by AI in the future. And therefore, we got results for a specific customer. He or she is interested in a specific product, and the probability was 90%. The probability then is interpreted by the business and not by the AI. So the factor human and machine is there always present, and it is, from my perspective, a real important one.
Okay, and to sum that up, your company, Accenture, is providing and finding solutions along with customers in different sectors, of course.
In different sectors, across all industry in Austria, Germany, Switzerland, and so on, yes. Correct.
Okay, so thank you for your first statement. So let's narrow that down to especially one sector, the automotive. Jost, you are Managing Director of the Virtual Vehicle Research Center in Graz, here based in Austria. And you have many topics, of course, and one of your topics is automotive driving and vehicles and security, of course. So where do you connect here with AI? Why are you sitting here?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my name is Jost Bernasch. For my background, I'm a computer scientist, and already in the 90s I worked with image understanding and also AI in the 80s and 90s already. Now we are dealing with ADAS systems, autonomous driving a lot. So in our ecosystem is including NVIDIA or ZF, for example. We are working with the Pro AI, for example. We have 3 autonomous cars as developing technology platform available. And there we are confronted with partially AI-based functions. So if you look at the overall system, some parts are some AI-based learning functions, for example, extending the autonomous braking system, understanding the scenery around and detecting pedestrians running in the street, for example. And there we have applied some machine learning algorithms to extend this functionality. And you have to combine different kind of software functions, AI-based software functions, with the overall security of the system. So the security covers all the system, not only the specific AI function. And you have to analyze the system architecture, where can a failure come from, and how you can, are you able to test certain functions to enhance the trustability and that the function is working correctly. And we're doing this with a large team, so we are 250 people right now. We are working in Graz, Munich, also in Germany, and especially analyzing the architecture concerning security and the impact of safety, because security vulnerability doesn't imply only to lose data, for example, like, I don't know, Facebook or Google has done in the past. But if you have these security issues in the car, you can harm people, you can make accidents and so on. So this is very, very important to get a very high level there.
Okay. Downstairs you have a Ford Mondeo, and one of your colleagues is giving great presentations. I had one this morning. He told me that the self-driving or automated car is producing so much data, it isn't possible anymore to process that manually, of course. So you need automated systems, machine learning, AI, whatever you call it. Yeah? So how many accidents did the Ford downstairs has yet in Austria?
Yeah, you can go downstairs and look at the car, and he looks very, very nice. So no damages, nothing else. So we are not the Uber car, you know. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. But
it's a research platform.
Yeah.
We have a complete operating system in the car. We have very different kind of sensors, very new upcoming sensors, where you can implement and test new functions in this car. And in reality, yes, you have from the sensors, from the video cameras, radar, LiDAR, you have, in one day, you have about 5 terabytes of data coming online into the car. So you have processed automatically the big data stream and to analyze what are the main changes or the main information pieces you really have to rely on, and you have to describe the behavior of the car, the planning and acting of the car.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Wolfgang, what's your perspective on the topic, trust in AI? What are the current opportunities and challenges you are meeting?
Well, thank you, and hello everybody. I'm regarding on the topic with two aspects. On the one side, as I'm responsible within the Ministry for Digital and Economic Affairs for the strategic issues on the digital topics, an AI strategy is one of the issues we are dealing with in the next months, starting from the beginning of next year, together with other ministries, for example, the Ministry for Transport, Innovation and Technology. So we are setting up a process for the development of an AI strategy for Austria, with several aspects. On the one side, the best conditions and circumstances for companies, for the industry, as well as for the academia to evolve AI solutions. But on the other side, also regarding on the aspects how we can use artificial intelligence products, artificial intelligence solutions within our systems, the government systems we are offering, other ministries are offering in several aspects. On the other side, I'm also the president of the Center for Secure Information Technology in Austria. So there is a big issue on all questions around security and trust on artificial intelligence. And we are regarding together with, for example, the Technical University of Graz on the security issues, also in regard with automotive driving. As one of the examples, we are working together also on the Technical University in Graz with several companies on these issues, but also other aspects where AI solutions can come with. They have, most or all of them have security aspects and aspects of trust.
Okay, so you would say you have a full understanding of this topic because it's very near to many of us, and you need certainly certain strategies from the point of view of the government. So what would be the right regulation or strategy here in general? Are there any recipes in Europe you're looking at where it works very well, or is it new to everybody?
Well, the first answer is I don't think that I don't fully understand AI, because AI is such a complex topic, is such a complex issue that I think who is able to really understand AI and how it's really working it in all its various different objections.
Same with me, yeah, same with me.
But we are dealing with the topic on a strategic point of view, and just to inform that we have in the government program for the current legislation period, the federal government has emphasized the central importance of digitization as a driving force for the transformation of the innovation location, and declared measures to increase the degree of digitization. And one focus will be on new digital technologies, and AI and machine learning are one of the major issues and the major topics that we are learning on. In order to preserve Austria's digital sovereignty, the federal government therefore strives to play an active role in shaping AI in all policy areas. For this reason, there is a federal strategy under the working title Artificial Intelligence Mission Austria 2030. Maybe you heard about that. And this is to be developed by 4 ministries, including our ministry. And this AI strategy should set the framework conditions for a wealth-promoting and responsible use of AI in all areas of life, as I already mentioned. Of course, we want to take advantage of any opportunities that arise at an early stage and to avoid intended consequences of a strong dissemination of AI. So these aspects and several other aspects, we wrote them together in a kind of a brochure. You can, just for information, we did this together with the Ministry for Transport, Innovation and Technology. It can be seen or it can be taken with you at the information stand of the FFG in the ground floor.
So there's going to be some funding here.
Yeah.
How large is the funding going to be? Can you name anything?
I don't know by heart, to be honest, but the information could be given at the stand of FFG. But FFG is in the center stage for this.
Okay,
this
great to
funding,
hear.
yeah?
Great to hear. Ahmad, it's your second stage today here, so you're quite busy here on this conference. Anything left from your presentation you didn't mention yet? And otherwise asked, so which challenges do you see in general? Where do you meet or where are you meeting with your work when we talk about trust and security for reliable technologies?
Yeah. So I am part of the tax technology team at PwC Austria. So my role is not digital or technology consulting. My role is actually to augment our tax services using AI. So I'm a bit lucky, I would say, because I'm sitting always with my tax colleagues and developing like AI solution and not the feedback directly. And the feedback that I always got is why this AI is making that decision and how it's making that decision. Because for tax consultants or lawyer, they are always they care about how the decision is made, and we need to keep our reputation, for example, as our client, that everything is secure in our decision. And this is why what I would always push in the direction of explainable AI, which means that we know how the decision is made. And at the same time, I understand that complex problems, they need complex solutions. So it's not easy always to explain AI models. So my talk today about how to actually maintain the complexity of model and building explainable AI. Let's say the other directions that I would like always to talk about, that when it comes to security measures in AI, that we need to it should depend on the domain that we are talking about. So security measures in self-driving cars are different than security measures in AI for human resources. Self-driving cars, they are processing sensor data. Human resources, they are processing personalized data. So, and always I would like to say that we need to stop comparing AI or artificial intelligence to human intelligence, because whenever we do this comparison, we are actually putting AI as a risk. This I always feel, for example, with my colleagues. And in order to build trust in AI, we need to remove that, and we need to say that AI will augment our resource, our actually processes, and not replace my colleagues actually.
Yeah. You're in the team of text technology at PricewaterhouseCoopers. So do you have a good example for automated processes helping the human experts?
Yeah, so one of the examples is anomaly detection of our tax data. So we have a client, they have a lot of data, and they need to find if there's something wrong or something abnormal in this data. For example, because when you are filing your taxes, if there's something wrong inside, you could actually face some risk. So before doing that, we are trying to basically analyze this data and find anomalies in this data. And to do that, we are building explainable AI because our clients also need to see why this transaction could be a normal or could be false, because we need to explain that. We cannot only say that this is a normal transaction, for example. And we need to use also this feedback in order to retrain our model to be more responsible and to improve the tax knowledge about it, actually.
Okay, so thank you for your first statement.
Thank you.
Axel, last but not least, you are a Director of Products and Innovation, I'm reading here, of Wirecard. So what does Wirecard do, and what's your profession regarding AI?
Thank you for being here today. First of all, for those who didn't join the media in the last month, Wirecard is a payment service provider which made it to the German tax. So I guess a lot of people saw what we are doing, but mainly we are focusing on payment transactions. So wherever you use your credit card in the e-commerce, typically it's done by Wirecard or a company that acts like Wirecard. And what correlation is there with payment and AI, you may ask? First of all, I would say it's a question of management of expectations. We heard before, AI is maybe a baby, maybe a youngster, but still at the very beginning. So we need to think about it, where the use cases are and what kind of usage we will make out of it. At Wirecard, we typically use technologies if they're really ready or create a value for the market and for the merchants. So therefore, we were really thinking hard where you can use it and create an additional value, and started there with data analytics and the predictive part, and using this for the retail and travel industry on the one side to predict fraud and prevent from fraud, more or less, which is more important if it comes to e-commerce, as it is a very dynamic field. People are getting more and more clever when it gets to crime scenery, so you have to be beware of that. And of course, the customer would also like to see his behavior in a positive way feedback. So if you buy in a certain shop nappies for your kids, you don't want to have displayed it the next 14 years. So maybe this should grow. And so we created a platform where we can use the right portfolio, the right payment, and prevent from fraud to create an additional value. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the security issue now, of course, we have certain regulations today already with the PCI regulations or the GDPR, where we disconnect personal data from payment data, and of course have to protect the payment data to make it anonymous and analyze anonymous payment streams. They're more or less tokenized in order to keep that clean and to reduce the risk on that side. But it's not just about the laws, it's also about the environment, I would say, especially when it comes to the people working for you, for your developers or IT stuff. You have to create an environment, and probably not searching for the cheapest, but for the best people. This is what we are doing, and create an environment where you have trustability within your working staff. Because mostly the IT concerns are created out of your own organization. And starting there, we are trying to create trustability and security within our organization, and then going, of course, out there.
Okay, so thank you for your first statement. Let's get into the detail regarding trust. So, Michaela, how should we handle technology in a responsible manner in creating trust? What's your approach here?
Maybe I can start with the use case, because you talked about use cases, and from my experience, there are different kind of use cases where I should have different levels of trust, because I have seen it at different use cases at different clients. We implemented their machine learning models in the retail and marketing area, I think there it's not necessary to have the same level of trust as if I would implement a machine learning model in the risk or fraud department of a bank, for example. Because if I recognize customers for a specific product, of course it's a machine learning model and there is data behind it. The data should be trustworthy, but it's not the same level of trust that enters then the business, or the same use case that enters the business, and the business interprets it in a different way. And I think it's also very necessary to make it explainable, the AI, because I saw also very interesting projects where there was a black box and nobody knows what's happening behind the black box. So you enter data, I don't know in which level of trustworthy, and you get results. And if you ask the data scientist or the data engineer, they can't tell you which decision path was behind the AI. And I think that's a crucial point, that the main challenge and the main task of a data scientist is to make AI explainable, and the main task of a data engineer is the task that the data is prepared in the right way.
But isn't there a bit of something that wouldn't work with AI? Because as I understand, what differs AI from classical algorithms is that there is a certain black box, because you don't have those 0 and 1 answers you can operate. So what's the approach here? Something in the middle?
I would say it's something in the middle, because you don't have a rule-based engine behind AI, but you have certain attributes that have more influence than others, and you can give the business a direction which attributes influences the result in which way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can inform people about that. Yeah?
I can inform people. We inform people about that on projects, and we visualize the results, because then it's easier for business to interpret. And I think that's a crucial point here.
Yeah. For leveraging trust, because something I understand, I'm easier to trust and to cope with.
I'm easier to trust, and it's easier to interact with the results, and it's easier afterwards for the business to give feedback, and this feedback is then used for retraining the model, and yeah, that's the kind of cycle that we're dealing with in our projects.
Okay, Jost, what's your thought about that, creating trust? What's your approach in the work you're doing every day?
Yeah, I think in the application area of automotive systems, trust is going to the trustability of functions. How much can you trust a certain function? And I think it's not so important whether it's implemented in any kind of software language, C or Python or whatsoever, or it's AI-based, but it's the functions are the interesting thing to trust in. And how big is the danger that the security might be broken of a system, and so to interfere with the function. So in the past, you can think, the security of your Facebook data. In the past, a lot of people thought, okay, they trusted Facebook, yeah, until millions of data have been stolen. Yeah, then the trust is gone. So the function itself and whether the security measures are high enough, this is very important, whether you have a trust into a system or not. And you can enhance the trust, and there maybe the black box come into account. You can enhance the trust with a kind of, let's say, model-based testing, so that you can make a lot of different tests on how stable a system is, and so to enhance the trustability on certain levels. So you also have defined ASIL levels and so on, so levels of the security, and also you can derive a trustability of the system out of these tests.
So speaking of transparent attributes, speaking of your business, the automated car, if there is happening an accident, yeah, which always be the case, yeah, is there going to be some kind of documentation from the car manufacturer or the software manufacturer why the car decided in that second and which attributes it took into its decision? Is it going to help in such cases?
Yeah, if you can record or if you have recorded the data of the sensors, and so you know you have the knowledge about the environment, then you have a kind of traceability how a certain decision has derived. Of course, yeah, this will be done, but it's not in that case that the old thing that you say, okay, will I drive about the 2 children or the 3 old people? So this is not kind of decisions that have to be taken. This is not a little bit ridiculous, I think. But because we are talking about AI, whether the functions are AI-based or if a software developer is developing maybe in your ABS system, for example, in the car, if it's standard software or not, it's not so interesting for you, the function of the system. This is an interesting thing, and we don't have to forget about that.
Okay, we have some questions from the audience, and Jost, I'm asking you and Wolfgang after that the same question. Should be regulations by the government for AI? Are there any regulations needed?
Yeah, you have to discuss what kind of regulations. Regulations to use AI, or what do you mean with regulations? If you look at the systems you have in your house, you speak with your system, with Siri or with any kind of other system, they all use AI. You know, all your smartphones are using AI all the time if you are having a search function or whatsoever. So if you have to talk about what kind of government should be directed concerning AI for what? So
okay, so it's a question of the question. Wolfgang, are
Definitely.
you going to work on regulations for the industry?
Well, first of all, we have to be very, very carefully when talking about regulations on specifically on this issue. On the one side, yeah, we have definitely to take a careful consideration when I look at public processes. There are clear decisions that they can be evaluated and be proven and required. But then we have the problem with the black box behavior of AI solutions in different areas. For our government solutions, for example, tax fraud or other aspects, medical diagnosis, safety, security, and so on. On one side, there are many opportunities that raise up with AI, but also with dangers. Look at all the discussions on faking of videos, information bubbles. One of the, how to say, the best known case is the targeted campaigning, for example, like it was done by Cambridge Analytica. This case we all know. So on the one side, we need on the one side a detailed know-how and really to be sensitive on what to regulate and not to close any market or any possibility for an evolution and an involvement. So in specific areas, there has to be discussed a stronger regulation on the one side when it's coming on security issues, when it's coming to the personnel issues of the citizens as well as of companies, of course. But on the other side, what we do not want is to over-regulate anything. And this is the same for the evolution of artificial intelligence. Because what we see at the moment with AI is not a fixed solution or a fixed product. This is AI and nothing else can be evolved. It's evolving on and on. So we have, on the one side, not to stop this evolution and not to bring down any market. Also in regarding to other countries, for example, on the one side the United States, but on the other side, what is the evolution in the Far East? So therefore, in specific areas, yes, regulation has to be done, but in general, we want to try to let things for the digitalization as well for this issue quite open.
Okay. Yep. Jost.
So I think from my personal view, we should not talk primarily about regulations. Yeah, if you see, a lot of AI algorithms come from Europe, from Germany, Austria, Switzerland. A lot of the most famous people are coming from there, developing these algorithms. Who is using and exploiting all the knowledge? It's in the US and China. They are investing. So in China, they claim that AI is one of the most 10 important things, and they would be a leader in 2030 worldwide. The US is very far, and we start discussing regulations. Yeah? So I think this is the wrong way. We should invest into this technology, and especially not only doing research, but also applications and technology development in this area.
I think I would see you need, of course, certain rules for businesses, like financial industry, like the automotive industry, and the traffic itself. Yeah, but maybe not rules for some kind of technology.
Of course, we have a lot of regulations, and most regulations I think are really sensible. But we should look how Europe should advance in technology, not in regulations.
Okay.
I would
please
add one point, because I think from my project experience, it were the most successful projects where business and IT work closely together, and they also set up a kind of governance for AI projects, and maybe that would cover that point.
Okay. I'm looking at the questions here. I think the fourth one is addressing me. Is it really a professional approach to implement AI systems with limited explainability? Ahmed, maybe let's see, the second one is not quite the right question for this stage. But thank you anyway. 42 thumbs up. Yeah. so thank you for deleting that. Yeah. No censorship at all here. We fear that AI, Ahmed, gets more clever than us. We have that on our screen here. Yeah. So do you agree that AI is going to take over the world?
No, the first question, is it really a professional approach to implement AI system with explainability?
Yeah.
I will answer that.
Yeah, yeah, please. Yeah, do so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so, because so many says that AI is just a software. For me, it's not a software, because you have a lot of uncertainty inside this AI model. So if you don't have some transparency and explainability, then so the normal software, for example, verification or testing will not work for that, because the system could be functioning correctly, but doing very wrong decisions. And again, it depends on the domain. As I said, for example, in self-driving cars, the car industry always have measures like safety, security, reliability. When it comes to AI that is operating on personalized data, we have fairness. We have, for example, if it is responsible or is ethical. So there are different measures there. And explainable AI is important to see if this AI is meeting these measures, for example, in terms of security, reliability, or in terms of ethical, or it is, let's say, it's fair. And
would you see that we are going to need general security measures regarding AI, or as you say, it should be sector-based, business-based?
Yeah, I think it's business-based, support-based, because I don't want to put measure on AI that is helping us to solve the climate change problem, for example. So it depends on the business, it depends on the domain itself. Okay,
so besides opening the black box, which other measures should be imposed by governments? What would you mean?
Yeah, so for example, besides open the black box, we don't need to use an AI that doing online learning while it's in operating mode. So for example, we don't need that a car that is doing online learning itself, and maybe now online learning could be creating new architecture itself. So because online learning means that it's not, let's say, supervised by us, so we don't know what can go wrong there. So online, offline learning is one of the measures, I would say. And yeah, the other measure is the data. Whenever we have an AI that would be used to make decisions about people, for example, or humans, we need to check if the data is biased or not. For example, this also important to consider, besides open the black box.
Okay, we have the question specifying especially the car industry. How do you ensure that the AI is not going to be tricked or hacked? I would ask you, Axel, the same in the financial industry. Yeah. So, what are your security? What is your security approach here? Because IT is never 100% secure. We know.
Well, this is what I was mentioning before. I mean, we have a certain responsibility. In our case, maybe the car is not going over the cliff or directly into the group and creating collateral damage, where you now have to decide. But we are taking care today for our monetary system, which is at the end of the day also a quite challenging situation. If this is failing, we have a lot of problems moving to maybe not cashless, but at least less cash society. It is extremely important to keep their minimum certain level of security. And the basis of trust, I would say, are the rules. I mean, I saw before already, we had some fans of Isaac Asimov here with the 3 rules regarding robotics, respectively 4, if you take the zeroth. And like we have the code of conduct already today in certain parts of the business, I would see this also as a mandatory issue to think about the kind of code of conduct for AI as well, like we have with the laws of robotics. At least to think and to support those guys and who are today responsible for the development. Today the developer is more or less alone creating the rules. So maybe we should think about helping him today.
Not alone if you look around here, yeah?
Yeah,
but,
they were mentioning this, yeah. Well, in the payment industry, or at least at Wirecard, we are starting here getting our developers involved also in our daily processes, taking them aside from our core business developing to the sales consultants, getting an idea what we would like to do at the end of the day. So not just the hardcore idea and the process and then more or less hacking down what needs to be done, but simply understanding what needs to be the vision at the end of the day, and also sharing more or less the rules behind to get a better understanding and probably also a better result for that.
Okay, so Wirecard is providing a developer-friendly work environment. Good to hear. What of GDPR? There's another question. Is that hindering business models?
The GDPR?
GDPR, yeah.
Hindering, it's creating a certain complexity. Yeah, what I mentioned before already, you have the GDPR, where you have to more or less take the financial data apart from the personal data, and then the personal, the financial data and anonymize it so that you have a tokenized information. So this is creating a lot of complexity. And makes it even more complex today to obey all the rules which are already given and create out of this then a result which is still creating value for those who would like to use it for the use cases. And this is what we are trying to work for the financial industry as well. And therefore we say we have to look business case and use case by use case where we can really use that at that point of the stage, and where we need to improve to use that maybe for the future.
Okay, thank you. So we have 1 minute left. Michaela, what's your message? Explainable AI? can you explain a bit about that?
Yeah, I think we have talked about the black box, and that's for me the contrast for explainable AI. But maybe I add here some point, because I think GDPR is no showstopper for AI. Because you have to inform the customer, you have to give the customer the opportunity to opt out from the services. But I think it's no showstopper, and AI is really funny, so I enjoy doing projects within this area.
Okay, so thank you very much for the discussion. Thank you very much for most of your questions and for participating here. So I would like to meet, let's meet in 1 year at the same time here on that stage and discuss what is going on in AI in Austria and in Europe. So thanks all for your interest, and have a nice evening. Yeah, thank you.